Hey, ladies and Germans, how you all doing? This is Khan. We're coming to you with another Company of Heroes 1v1. Today's combatants spawning down here in the southeast on Faymanville Approach. These are the Wehrmacht forces of WMD Spanky. He is opening up with a very uncommon build, i.e. MG42 straight into a second Pioneer squad. His opponent up here in the northwest, spawning in the red trunks, it is whorunbartertown as the USF. Now, he, on the other hand, my guess is going to go for a very standard opening, maybe probably Trip Rifleman, because despite the fact that US meta has been modified so much and yet, taken down to so many different pegs here and there, it is still the primary way to open up with the US. WMD Spanky, in the meantime, though, what has he got for commanders? He is bringing along German Mechanized Doctrine, Strom Doctrine, and Mechanized Assault Doctrine. whorunbartertown, for his particular moment, is bringing in Heavy Cav, Armor, and Mechanized Company. A very standard opening, first of all. Looks like Americans are not going to get their fuel point into supply too quickly. Indeed, it might even be the Germans who take it away from the U.S. And I'm wondering if we'll see a trade because of that to the north out of the German expansion fuel or the southeast expansion fuel. Allies will definitely get their own munitions into supply before the Germans, which is also kind of a surprise. The Germans definitely sacrificing a fair bit of map presence with this two machine gun opening. Excuse me, what I meant to say was map capturing ability with this two machine gun opening. They will be able to bring guys into good supply with this capture right here, and holding down this house will give them a nice strong point to hold on to. However, it does mean at the cost of this entire northern section getting taken out. As you can see right here, it's going to be probably 60 or 70% red, as opposed to the Germans. And indeed, Spanky's going for 3 MG42, so he's looking to play a very static early game. Not expecting that at all. We'll see the rear echelons are not going to be able to stand up to the 4 MP40s of the Pioneers and indeed drop a model on retreat. And the Germans finally do have their fuel into supply, but the Americans, well, they're just getting good chunks of munitions without really trying that hard. Machine guns bunkered up into these two garrisons right here. So the southern, let's say south third, southern, almost to a half of the map is locked down, at least from the western direction. Now, however, from the eastern side, though, you can't see this rifleman be able to sneak in around, and without these machine guns rotating to kind of pick on and cover for those Pioneers, the Germans will take some pretty devastating losses. And indeed, machine guns not turning at all. Curious enough. Very curious. Munitions still not in control for the Germans. Allies, in the meantime, are bringing in 32 fuel per minute. Germans going for battle phase 1, not a surprise necessarily there. whorunbartertown is staying kind of static. There we go. Okay, so at least he's finally having the machine guns get into the field here. Rotating to put fire down onto these riflemen, but not going to be before their Pioneers get devastated. Those poor guys get hammered. But now, 2 squads of riflemen are under fire right here. Both, one's pinned, he retreats, the other one's pinned, he retreats too. Rear echelons are getting churned up pretty darn good. But they achieved exactly what they needed to, which is to say they cut off this point right here. We're also going to finally see a lifetime mechanized company coming out for the Germans, neglecting to go for the infantry company early on, which is very unusual for a Wehrmacht player. Indicates he's not going for any sort of grenadier play at all. Of course, looking at the bulletin Spanky is bringing in, that might be a reasoning behind that. He's got Panzer Grenadier Specialist, which makes his P-Grens gain veterancy just that much faster. And because of those machine guns, shockingly enough, there's only one U.S. squad out on the map, and that's this rifleman hunkering down. And the one legitimate garrison the Germans are not yet occupying. I say one because although this thing up here is a very good infantry position, the placement on the map makes it very minimal in terms of utility. whorunbartertown is going to go for a very, oh no, I was going to say he's going to go for a standard meta opening, but no, instead we're going to see a pack howitzer coming out in the wake of that captain. So looking to push back these garrison machine guns, and I can't blame them on that one. Indeed, we are also going to see the first squad of P-Grunts coming out for Spanky. So finally some legitimate mainline infantry really hitting the field. And for some very strange capturing decisions by Spanky, he's not looking to get in and behind the Americans. Pushing this area is definitely viable with all the machine guns that he has as a fallback position, but he's not doing that at all. In the west, we'll see P-Guns are going to go and catch these riflemen on the move. Riflemen are not even firing, and indeed, if the P-Guns just hold still, they probably could take out another model or two. There's one right there. Second one? Nope, not quite. Rifleman, in the meantime, and a captain both retreating in the wake of these machine guns. And Spanky, interestingly enough, is bringing in a half-track. Wehr and Bartertown is already going to go instead for a Stuart, and that's a better decision here. But the P-Guns are out on the field, so by the time that Stuart comes out, Spanky should be able to afford those Shreks pretty quickly. 6 minutes in, we have a 2-to-1 cap out for the Germans over the Americans. There's still no bunker up necessarily for the Germans in terms of a medic. And that's not wonderful, but hey, it's not that bad either. Now please don't be going and don't put the flame projectors in here. Please be instead, tell me you're going for those Shreks. That would just make me cry a little bit inside. And nope, neither one's happening. Neither one. And now rifleman, excuse me, not rifleman. Oh no, it is. It's a huge rifleman push, guys. One squad's going to find themselves suppressed out in the open. And indeed, the other one by a second field of fire in behind that first machine gun. So defense in depth coming out in favor of the Germans. Surprised to see that. That's not usually a common strategy there. On the west, these rear echelons armed with hazard removal kits aren't able to stand up to the suppressive fire of these pioneers. You can see the cost of that attack right there. Germans in the meantime might be able to pick up a fuel position to the north. No, to get out of this spot just before that is, procs off. And there we go. Pioneers in the meantime trying to put down S-mines. They're going to get carved to pieces though if they're not careful. And there's still no investment into Shreks, which is killing me a little bit inside. I said Spanky's going to go for a Pack 40, a less dynamic decision, but you know what? It's an interesting one nonetheless. 483 to 432, a second Pack Howitzer is coming out for Wehr and Bartertown, so it seems that the Americans are not looking so much to deny territory, just deny the Germans from having a garrison, which I suppose is in and of itself a decent decision. Not one I would necessarily go for, especially when I'm not holding a lot of territory, but to each their own.
We are losing a sector.
Now, at least the Germans have been able to identify that it's not mortars, it's in fact Pack Howitzers. Though if Spanky's really on the ball, he'd be able to realize that from the arc of the shots themselves. In the meantime, one of the MG crews does go down, picked off by a combination of the rifleman and the Stuart firing. And that Stuart is just marauding around, putting a little bit of damage here and there onto the half-track. I'm guessing these pioneers are going to try to push forward to pick up the machine gun, but no, it's going to become an American position. And that's more than a little bit of a problem. Now, is it teched up just yet? No, he's not. Spanky is not taking up into Battle Phase 2 immediately, and that's a bad idea. With the Americans not clogging up the center part of the field, these howitzers can drop rounds pretty much all over this crossroads area, and that is going to cause hell for the Germans in the immediate future. Pack in the meantime taking some damage, but he can just reinforce directly off of that half-track. But either way, Pico's taking some damage to the north. We have, strangely enough, a very passive game going on so far. But I'm also seeing rounds come in now too. This is machine guns coming under fire from those Pack Howitzers, and although the captain is suppressed right now, he's not taking enough damage for it to be massively worthwhile. And indeed, these machine guns are not... He's not moving at all. That's a mistake. Giant mistake, but okay. Another rear echelon squad's coming out in the meantime while the Germans are trying to keep their VP advantage. They're up about 70 tickets right now, but that's not going to last very long. And the soft-skin half-track is coming under a bit of incidental fire from these Pack Howies.
German infantry, cut them down.
Now, where are we looking for AT on this map? These P-Grunts are still not doing anything, which I think is, again, a mistake. But a bundle grenade goes out, does a little bit of damage, but nowhere near enough to justify the usage of all the munitions on that one. And indeed, he's dropped back. He's only got one model left in the squad. If he goes down, Spanky's in real trouble. But no, he manages to make it out okay. Pyos, in the meantime, come up against the rear echelons again. These poor rear echelons are just not in a great position. They're going to get outgunned all the time, and twice on Thursdays. But indeed, they are forced back before it is too late. Spanky was going to bring another squad of P-Grens in. I think that would have been a better decision. Instead, he's going to just reinforce out the squad they've got already. As the Americans do come in, they're taking back the fuel point for themselves, as well as diving forward to take a strategic point and build a buffer territory between the German resource generation. Now, whorunbartertown should be taking up to Major the second he's got the fuel for it. It's not too much longer yet, another 30 seconds or so. But he's got a clear advantage right now, one that I think he could be able to keep pretty easily, especially with a captured machine gun. MG42 will open up, but will be flanked in turn by these riflemen. And with the pack howitzers right there, I expect to see a dead machine gun soon enough. A couple of models dropping already. Another bundle grenade. Okay, fakes the animation cancel, and there we go. He's going to come forward. He's going to drop it out maybe on top of all these US infantry right here. I don't know, but we will see a dead Pyo squad. But oh my gosh, whorunbartertown didn't see it. Drops 4 models right there. Still not enough to really be too enthusiastic about his immediate prospects. But at least, hey, at least the Armor Support Corps is up, right? But these pack howitzers bunkered up with this MG42 is going to cause real trouble for the Germans, who just don't have the flexibility or mobile infantry, is that the right term perhaps, to sneak around and do what they have to do. A super late ambo is going to come out as well for whorunbartertown, and I'm hoping the second he gets that 240 manpower, he will go up to his major. But right now, I guess the Americans don't have to be too concerned. Looks like they're going to get a trip cap pretty easily out of this. These pioneers can't do jack unless it's against rear echelons, and even then, I am outnumbering them 2 to 1. Should make up for the firepower disparity. Never mind, he one-shots a howitzer. He one-shots a howitzer, just like that. Skadoosh, 6 guys. If he can take that out, I mean, he's in good shape, I guess. It's always kind of shocking that those things do any kind of damage whatsoever. But the LEFH doing work, son. A couple more rounds coming in, and those rear echelons coming right back into it too, so they're going to get hammered pretty hardcore.
Enemy has broken our supply lines. Super lucky. And he just continues to throw down rounds in the area. Now, if we get lucky one more time here, I don't know. But nope, instead he's going to have... Oh, no, one more round? Not quite. So 30 seconds to the next barrage. And indeed, we're going to see a howitzer motor carriage in the meantime. So the howitzer motor carriage will do a good number to the German infantry, but now we have a P4 coming out, which means that the Stuart and the howitzer carriage are outgunned by quite a bit. And when I say quite a bit, I mean an absolute ridiculous amount. We have lost a squad.
P-Grens do go down, which is a little bit unfortunate since Spanky is not exactly flush for infantry in the first place. P4 is going to come up here just in time to kind of push back, I think, the Stuart as he tries to move in on the half-track. Rear armor hit too. I didn't even realize the Stuart's backwards to the P4. That's a big mistake right there. And next round from the howitzers, right back in the same area again, perhaps? I guess so. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, he says. More distance shot here. Machine guns and Zooks are trying to push back on this P4, and he retreats just out of respect. Not that he really has to, but out of respect, he pushes back. Indeed, rear echelon's moving in, trying to be aggressive on that P4, but machine guns to kind of discourage them otherwise. Pack 40 in the meantime is really hurt
Going to fall back so that way he can get healed up quite a bit. And Spanky calls in a reserve group of P-Grens. Unfortunately, he did drop his most vetted up squad of them. That just happens sometimes, you know. Army size-wise, whorunbartertown really should be able to take every single one of these engagements. He's just not been able to. But he is up almost 140, 150 tickets. Oh no. This Stewart might be able to catch out. This half-track, no half-track backs away with good speed.
We have been assigned fresh Panzergrenadiers.
I'm really thinking that it would have been better to not bring in this pack gun and instead invest in another bit of infantry. Now, we will see that 2 machine guns will be enough to put a curtain of fire down so dense that these guys can't see the light of day. And indeed, you will see 3 squads of riflemen getting forced off because of it. But I imagine we might even see this particular Pack 40 get pushed back in turn. Question is...
Enemy has killed a machine gun crew.
Yeah, that was going to happen. So between all the howitzer barrages, one machine gun crew does go down. The question is, has it gone completely down or just a little bit? More rounds coming in. Probably looking to pick off these rear echelons, but it's not going to do a whole lot. Now, were it me, I probably would have just started targeting the base sector, knowing that for the most part, US stuff's going to go right here when it retreats. So I pound that area, I could have picked up like, what, 15, 20 kills pretty darn easily. But Spanky doesn't seem too concerned about that. He says, you know what, I have now been able to decrew the machine gun that I lost, and I'm taking back some territory in the middle part of the map right now, so I can't complain too much.
The squad of pioneers has arrived.
My apologies, folks. I don't know if we had any kind of background noise on that one just now, but my neighbor decided that it's time for him to test out his snowblower. I feel compelled to note that there is absolutely no snow on the ground right now, but you know what? Better, more prepared than anything else, I suppose.
Frag grenades now available for action.
And about time, about 24:30 into this game, finally the Americans decide to go for the pineapple packages. And Spanky decides to start pressing the outside of the map. He's using his very, very unvetted up squads to push the outer limits of this map. Browns again looking for those howitzers and just not finding them. They're going to drop everywhere but where those howitzers are, I imagine. But maybe it's going to drop long? No, not quite. Instead, this howitzer carriage takes a couple of hits. With that open top, it will do a fair bit of damage here. And yep, once again, this would be a perfect opportunity just to drop rounds actually on home base, but instead, Spanky's being very, very conservative with it. Now, it is also worth noting that there is going to be a Stuka bombing strike that could be dropped in, and I wonder, I don't know if the Stuka bombing can be dropped on the home sector. If it can, we have another amazing opportunity for the Germans. If it can't, well, that's just too darn bad. In the meantime, though, it does seem like we're going to see... No, that's not it. That's not it. Ah. Major dropping down a concentration barrage. But the machine gun gets down there easily before any firepower hits the zone. I'm a little confused right now why these pioneers are being as passive as they are as opposed to being on top of their vehicles. This half-track's getting a lot of love, but the P4, despite being far more necessary, is not getting the kind of TLC that he deserves. And in the meantime, too, there's just this Stewart here, so I don't know if whorunbartertown is just waiting to lose his troops before he brings in a Pershing, which makes perfect sense after a fashion. Yikes. You guys getting melted here. Bundle grenade from the north doesn't actually do anything, and indeed the peak runs there are forced back as well. I'm really hoping to see a little more efficacy coming out from this LEFH. Because at the moment I'm not seeing it. Howitzers continue to try to find those machine guns, but he keeps displacing. A good plan out there for anybody who uses a lot of support units. Displace often. Displaced very often. Major, in the meantime, he's got more than enough munitions. He can just kind of come in and be like, yo, rapid barrage, rapid barrage. Or heck, he could even do that whole fake rapid barrage, which is sometimes as deadly as the rapid barrage, not actually causing damage, but causing your opponent to lose his cool and drop into a different part of the map.
Report of an infantry unit being wiped out.
And the Major unfortunately ran back through, and that LEFH managed to take him out. So now can I say it's funny when that happens, but it's always shocking when something like that goes on.
Under attack.
Now, the question is, yep, he can call that Pershing in right now if he wants to. He's going to take some damage on these infantry squads, but I'd rather have a Pershing. There we go. Pershing is on the map. With everybody so vetted up, it is now time for the Germans to start peeing their pants here, because that's a vicious group coming out. It's a Pack 40 and a P4 against the Pershing. I don't know if the Germans can hold on to that. As of right now, we are going to see this machine gun's going to get a fair amount of veterancy, just pouring fire onto these innocent rear echelons. But here comes the Pershing, and as expected, this P4 flees the battlefield, and doesn't matter, he gets taken out anyway. So Pershing's on the field, what, a minute? Takes out the only real threat on the enemy side of the map, and a Stug gets called in turn. Interesting decision there.
What the hell am I meant to do with these recruits? Green as green can be. Contact! Grab your shit.
Alrighty though, so there's still a machine gun popped out over here on the open part of whorunbartertown side of the map. And indeed though, it doesn't seem like he's too much in a rush to take care of it. Pack Howie's got 2 stars, the other one that got decrewed before, of course, at 0. But infantry is in really good shape, and at long last, trying to drop rounds onto the ambo, and does so. If he had only done so like a little bit sooner than now, it would have been a great idea. Pack 40 in the meantime though is going to put tons and tons of rounds into this Pershing, and indeed another round or two might see him really hardcore damage, down below 50% health. Pioneers in the meantime forced back in the face of a lot of enemy firepower. And all this down here is just no longer really great terrain for the Germans to really push out in. And I'm wondering, does the LEFH, do they know where he is? Because if they do, this guy's screwed, and that's a big loss. Yep, they know where he is. This guy's getting decrewed. Port's too bad. He's doing pretty good work. But between the Stuart and these infantry squads, more than enough to see him picked off. And indeed, there they go. Gonna nade up, perhaps? Nope. Nope, instead it's going to be a quick dive in to take him out of play. And now the Stuart's going to be there to see if he can remove the Thorn from the German side. Pack 40 is back in play, though, is able to put a little bit of damage onto that Stuart. And it's going to sneak away before the Stug can do anything about it. 30-33 into the game, 236 to 329. And Germans are
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
And where are you throwing rounds? Okay, well, he threw a round that's going to impact directly on top of this howitzer carriage. And 2 rounds, wow, it takes it down to about 20%, not 15% health even. I never thought that an LEFH could just be a good anti-tank avenue. Nevertheless, getting 1-star veterancy already by 2 kills. Another ambo is out as well, so if this LEFH realizes it, he can just drop another barrage back in this area as soon as possible. Of course, going to have to be another 40 seconds before that does happen, and the Allies will be back on the field with this metric buttload of infantry that's sitting back in base. Now, to be perfectly frank, this game should have been over a long time ago. The Germans don't have anywhere near the veterancy that the US does, and on top of it, let's call a spade, but the Allies have been playing very tentatively. This infantry should be pushing on both sides of the map, whether it's down here passively, just to kind of continue to keep German attention here, or to the north to remove German access to fuel. This should not be as close as it currently is. Combined arms assault is being used by whorunbartertown to give a slight firepower bonus 2 Allied infantry and tanks.
Enemy armor!
And LEFH starts firing along because he can. Stokes in the meantime announcing themselves, but not going to be a ton of damage. And indeed, moving to the south, these guys still have hazard removal kits, so they do see these mines. So I'm a little bit curious as to why the Germans threw that out there, knowing pretty much that a lot of this stuff is going to get picked off the second they move. I guess maybe it's just the idea of it. So we have an S minefield to the south, another S minefield right here. Pack 40 puts a round into the side of the Stuart, but it's not going to be enough.
Field promotion!
And indeed, they come in and come out, and that Stuart's full veterancy right now. It hasn't really done a whole lot of damage. Main gun destroyed, though. That's going to be a big hit for him. Problem is, there's no other AT to follow this up. And indeed, had there been more of a pressuring attack, the Stuart would not be in a great position. He'd be dead. Or, conversely, the Pack 40 would be dead. Both players being very, very cautious lately. It's kind of making me a little bit mad here.
We're back to full strength.
And indeed, where are we in terms of our army size? Well, the Germans are still underneath that of the US, which is not surprising considering how this game's gone so far for the Germans, dropping a squad here, dropping a squad there. But despite being so frugal with his men's lives,
Ability ready for deployment.
this US Army has really not been as aggressive as it needs to be.
We just gained a veterancy level.
And once again, here's a big mistake too. It's worth more to start dropping rounds back in the home base supply lines here as opposed to just kind of trying to find these howitzers. And of course, as soon as I say that again, a round goes perfectly on top of this howitzer. And another one lands on top of a rifleman squad. So I hate when that happens. Caster's curse right there, everybody.
Veterancy promotion.
But indeed, we are going to see it's going to be an M10 coming out over here. No, not M10, M36 Jackson coming out for the Americans. And the Stokes in the meantime are going to try to push back this Pershing, but the Pershing still does a ton of damage, even to the frontal armor of these upgun Stokes. Indeed, you see 2 shots. It does push one of them back, almost unto death. Riflemen in the meantime hanging out over here behind this stone wall, trying to harken back to their Civil War days, perhaps. And the Germans are not anywhere near the kind of fuel they need to have to either tech up or even get themselves another armored vehicle. I'm kind of concerned about that myself. Now 11 kills on top of this LEFH. Once again though, I would say aiming in this area is where he wants to aim all the time. Because if nothing else, it forces the American to always check back and lose some micro time trying to pick that material up by itself. Instead, rear echelon is going to focus on picking up this pack howitzer yet again.
Enemy forces are now down to 200 points.
And this Pershing as well is kind of hopping in, hopping out, hopping in, hopping out. Throwing off a couple of rounds to kind of disrupt and dismay the German position. And indeed, we probably will see this machine gun go down. Yep, there we go. So the machine gun is now dead too. And in the south, the Stuart is just going to pound through and probably take out this other machine gun. So in the span of about 30 seconds, both support weapon teams, I think the Germans will go down. Yep, there he goes.
Enemy neutralized.
And the Pack 40 is going to be awfully slow and rotating. Here's where you send your Stokes to rush in and around. You know where the Stuart is. One to the south, one to the north. Unfortunately, the limited gun traverse on these things is not going to serve the Germans well at all. But indeed, we're going to continue to see firepower being lofted downrange. And short, yet again. So Germans not learning from their earlier mistakes, instead just pounding one crater, moving it from here over to about here. But alright. Also, while I'm sure this would be met with a lot of scorn at this point, Spanky really needs to be investing in more than just P-Grens. Or if he is investing in P-Grens, to invest in something like anti-tank weapons on those P-Grens. So when a Stuart comes forward, he can actually hold up to it without losing so many models and forcing a Pack 40 to kind of just rotate yet again. And slowly at that.
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
175 to 259. 97 Army supply to 79 Army supply. And it feels like about that close every now and again. LEFH continues to just wreak havoc randomly. To do absolutely nothing and then to just, you know, one-shot squads. And these Stokes are they finally being useful here? Nope, never mind. Well, they were being useful for a second. But then the Pershing rotated and we have the rear echelon sliding in as well. So they run back home to their tiny little hole and, yeah. And we go back to a very homeostatic thing.
Area secure! Area secure! Take fire!
Now, how much more time before we get another Stog or something on the field? Maybe even a P4. A P4 at this point would be an excellent idea. We can call in a Stog. We can also call in a P4 in about a minute. At this point, if I were the Germans, I'd be calling a P4 in.
Infantry in force!
But I get the fear that he might be calling in a third Stog. And if he does do that, I mean, he's going to be prepared to lose 2 of them to take this Pershing out by itself. And that's if it literally is only by itself. Also, to figure out a way to take out those pack howitzers once and for all. LEFH not ready to start firing yet again. That's a little bit unfortunate for the Germans. Here we go, and once again he's trying to find those stupid howitzer positions, so ground away. This is perfect, it's going to be amazing. If it's not perfect, it's awful. What? The Pac 40 actually did something. He took out the Steward at long last. The thing's been in play forever. You're also going to see a P4 finally coming out. Pac 40 throwing rounds into that Pershing. Pershing backs away. Is this where the thing begins to turn around for the Germans? With the P4 on the field, he can probably just bum rush the Pershing. He's going to take a loss or two because of the rear echelons. But at this point, he's got to know, even if he takes that out, another Pershing is going to come right back on the field. So I don't know if he's trying just to bleed the Pershing dry with 1,000 cuts or what the deal is. I don't know.
Taking one of our points.
But I do know
Enemy infantry!
is that his support weapons are quite beat up.
A capture point is under attack.
P-Grans, for some reason, throwing rounds into a tank expecting to do something, and indeed, howitzer rounds tell them that's a bad idea.
Defensive action! Bring the gun round!
Oh geez. Strokes have the Pershing in the flank though. 1 rear armor hit. 2 rear armor hits. And despite the fact that both firing at the rear armor, they don't quite manage to take it out. Indeed, instead we are going to see rear echelons trooping on forwards and thrusting them back yet again. Now, please tell me you're firing over in this general... Oh, he's not. He's not firing over there. Okay. Meanwhile, P4 decides to do a little bit of a showboating drive backwards into the fight. Could have definitely dove quite deep and taken out this howitzer carriage, but nope, he's not going to. Ay. Okie dokie. Another Pioneer squad comes out as well. It's probably the best decision that Spanky can make under the circumstances. He needs to repair on this vehicle. It's the only thing keeping him in the game. That and the super lucky LEFH. And please, aim for this area. This is where knowing the kind of tendencies for the AI would serve the German player an excellent amount. Unfortunately, he's not going for it. And because of that, he's now down 130 tickets, and that doesn't seem to be changing anytime soon.
A capture point is under attack.
Now, doing something like this, MG42 on the pintle mount might be a good idea. It's not like he's using it for, anti-tank anyway. Ooh, but are we seeing a...
Tank support is here.
I think we might be seeing a bit of a misplay from Spanky. There goes his P4 on a giant waste for, unfortunately, nothing whatsoever. And indeed, we are going to see, though, that unfortunately the Pershing's been incapacitated by the strikes of the Pac 40. Question is, can they still capitalize on it? 1. No, he's not going to charge. He just won't. At this point, Spanky just identified himself as being super cautious. And that's going to just be the death of him.
They're moving on the flank!
Hey, here we go, and the rounds are impacting it again. Here's more rounds from LEFH, and it just happens. Oh my God. He is the reason the Pershing comes down. Now, that one comes out immediately, but he's the reason the Pershing goes down. 29 kills on this LEFH crew. These guys are the cat's pajamas, and they might take out this Hambo as well. Nope, instead that just starts to drop shorter and shorter. So, forget about it. Getting pretty close, though. If I were that Hambo, I'd be moving a long time ago.
Rear echelon troops on the front line.
Oh well. Nevertheless, the middle part of the field, we are going to see flame projectors on the half track starting to do work again. I don't know, 13 kills, not enough to really be super happy writing home about it, but... Where's the grenade? I didn't see a grenade. Well, 3 squads push back, peak runs go down and change. And again, Spanky just continues to kind of limp on through this entire experience. Now, at long last, it seems that this brave half track is going to buy it. He charges forward to put fire into these riflemen. Oh, never mind. He makes it out of the firing arc for that Sherman. Not that it's easy. In the northeastern side, we finally see these peak guns charging forward to take out this position, but doesn't work. Instead, they are killed in action, definitely KIA'd. But they finally managed to take back this munitions. Excuse me, this VP in the middle part of the field. Huzzah! And this becomes the most important and most fun thing for me to watch this entire game. 51 minutes in. And what had been a very, very interesting game to start off has started to really kind of dragging out into this super long and super needlessly complicated fight between the Americans and Les Germans. Pioneer squad's gonna go down here though. Just watch. There we go. He goes down. That's one. See a bit of a push over here from the western side of these Stugs, going rounds into this Pershing. He might be able to take him out. Yep, there he goes. Destroyed engine. At least that's destroyed engine anyway. That's pretty good. Being undestroyed though on the Stugs. The question is, can the Stug get taken out, or will it be
anti-tank gun ready for action?
It looks like it will be. The Sherman's charging forward, so should be able to take out the Stug pretty easily. Either him or the half-track, one or the other, but instead, no, he just ignores him, instead looking for everybody but that. And Pioneer squad's more than able to resume their repairing duties.
A capture point is under attack.
LEFH looking for rounds in the middle part of the field. Germans go under 25 tickets, finally, after 53 minutes. And the Germans continue to do things like charging forwards with Pioneers. I get they have no other infantry, but using Pioneers at this moment is really not the best idea. Pershing is slowly being repaired as well, so if Spanky is not on top of this particular barrage, well, it could be pretty bad. So fire now, please. Anywhere in this area, really. Whorunbartertown, in the meantime, is also going to bring in an anti-tank gun for the first time. And with the German pack off the field, okay, these guys are not repairing or anything like that. Just kind of hoping that these guys get repaired magically, I suppose. And yep, I have to speed this game up because if there just is a slow bleed out, I am just done with the game. 15 to 223, 55 minutes in, and this LEFH just continues pounding the middle part of this area because it can. Yep, there we go, 45 kills, and we're seeing everything we need to see at this particular moment. There finally, at long last, these Pioneer repair battalions are charging forwards to do their work. And see how much quicker this happens when those Stugs get repaired? I mean, geez, those guys are the most vetted up things on the field for the Germans, with the exception of this one half-track. And they're treating them like second-class citizens. It's very, very upsetting to see.
This ain't the time to ease up!
And the Americans just don't lose enough. They take a couple losses here and there incidentally, but never enough to see them pushed off of the field completely.
New unit ready and on the field.
And Pershing got taken out by accident. I think he just kind of dove on forwards and got plastered. But you know what? Another one gets brought in. Wait a second. Limited one. Oh my God. Oh, I can't believe he did that. Okay, so here comes the game. I thought the Sherman got taken out. Excuse me. Pershing got taken out, and it did. But technically, what happens is that since the Pershing, again, just lost a destroyed engine, he technically counted on not having a Pershing, so he called another one in. And then he recrewed the other one, so he's got two, essentially, full-strength Pershings, when he should only have one. But these three Stugs seem to not be taking this lying down. Rear armor hits are happening here, folks. That is definitely true, but one Pershing is gone. Damaged engine, though, on this vetted up Stug, and he's going to break it by it. The damaged engine over here on the south on this other Stug. And I do believe he's going to go down in a second here. He's got no health left. One more bazooka shot. Even if it glances off the hull, should be enough to take him out. No, instead this half-track's going to rush on in and put up a wall of flame, trying to stave off this American assault. But it's not enough. It is not to be. He goes down finally. Leaving the Americans to lick their wounds a little bit, but not push forwards. This is the time you throw everything you have into an attack. If you're German, this is the time you throw everything you have into another attack, trying to push around the angles, push around the sides, anything you can do. Absolutely anything you can do. And since at this point your infantry outclasses the German infantry just so much, you really don't have to worry about anything. I'd also be charging forwards since it's sped up quite a bit, guys. I'd be charging forwards, throwing grenades at everything I wanted to, throwing smoke grenades, just using all of my munitions abilities with all discretion, with absolutely no, what's the term I'm looking for here, no reserve whatsoever. But another Stug is coming onto the field, and yet we see again this kind of how passive everyone has been. Pershing in the background got 28 kills. How many is that? Okay, so a bunch of infantry, I imagine. All infantry. So 28 kills in the infantry. Pretty quick churn of kills on that one. 3 stars of veterancy on the Stug, but if the Pershing is at all fearsome, it's not going to matter. There he goes. He's gone. And at long last, a Stuka bombing strike, but who cares? I'm just going to speed up the rest of this game here because we're just seeing the same stuff over and over and over again. 48 kills on this artillery piece, and if he throws it down right here, and here we go again, another Pershing gets called out because technically this other one doesn't count as having, is not actually technically an American tank. So there we go again. He can just hop this out whenever he wants to. And the previous abilities are now being utilized here. That needs to be an exploit. I think I'm just getting shut the door on. I don't know if I like that very much. But 15 tickets to 162. Spanky has been getting back into this as much as possible. But really shouldn't be happening. The American infantry ranks have been thinned out ever so delicately over time here. While the repair battalions for Spanky have had nothing but work to do consistently. Half-tracks need to get repaired, Stugs need to get their treads put back on. In the north, these riflemen really should be able to come in and around and kill one single machine gun squad. But instead what we're seeing is a trip cap for the Germans, which is now going to be a 2-to-1 for the Germans. And that is just a very, very big surprise. 57 kills on the LEFH. If he drops around any further, he might be able to take out that American squad right there, but no. Instead, at 1 hour, 3 minutes, and 45 seconds into the game, the Pershings are coming forwards again, and against the meager AT that exists for the Germans, it really should be game, set, and match. Of course, I can't tell you how many times I've said that over the last 25 minutes, and yet we still have this charge of the Light Brigade that's going on here. There we go. There goes some machine gun for the Germans. Main gun destroyed on one Pershing. Destroyed engine on the Stug. And it keeps bouncing rounds out into this other Pershing. One Pershing does finally go down, but the Stug in turn brews up. Now we're going to see this Pack 40. Can he save the half-track? I don't believe he can. He's got almost no health. All he really has is to kind of go and stun out the American crew. But I don't think that one's got the distance, folks. But despite this, the Americans have fallen to half the army supply of the Germans. And indeed, Pack can be recruited, and the Stug can be recruited. So, shockingly enough, the Germans might not be dead. But speeding this up quite a bit, whorunbartertown should be throwing every bit of infantry he's got, everything. Maybe even just waiting for Rangers to throw on the Rangers into the fray. Just get some sort of infantry on the field, but instead, off-map smoke barrage, right in the middle part of the field. He's going to go and take that position.
They're on the flank. They got us pinned down over here.
Put a Stuka round going in instead and forcing away the Americans before they can safely finish their deadly mission.
Go ahead.
Pack 40 is now decrewed and been destroyed. There's no more AT in that moment. And this half-track's going to get taken out in a second as well, I imagine. Prepared Stug is desperately trying to push away this Pershing. And I think that's finally going to be it for it, folks. Pershing's going to just kind of neglect to really do anything. Oh, there we go. Round to the back of this half-track. Half-track's going to sprint away. But after a super long match, I'm going to speed up the end of this. I do believe we're going to see whorunbartertown pick up the W. And there we go. So all the Axis infantry throwing themselves in a mad dash to decap the middle part of the field, and they do, but at such grievous losses. And they now, what, 5th Pershing called onto the field? There's been so many dead Pershings. I wouldn't be surprised if Blackjack is rolling over in his grave. Oi, oi, oi. LEFH, 63 kills. More rounds in the middle part of the field pretty darn soon. I'd imagine that'd be happening. And Spanky is now complaining about that, but not realizing that he got the bug. Yep, that's the bug. So, and I would agree. I would definitely agree it's a bug. But finally, no, I don't know about that. Way too much passive play for there to be an effective, like, hey, without that single gardening bug, I would have had a chance. Final score, finally, after an hour and 8 minutes, 0-86, whorunbartertown picks up the W after playing super passively throughout the game and taking advantage of what I term to be a exploit in the game. But thanks so much for tuning in, guys. I know that one was a marathon. Tune in real soon for another episode of Company of Heroes 2. If you haven't checked out the TAC Talks just yet, I would definitely do so. Definitely worth a look. But that is it for me today. I'll see you all soon. This is Connorworks signing off. Take it easy.